can treat the suffering individual in a thoughtful, compassionate, and experienced manner and guide him or her along the path to recovery. So call 770-696-9862 and speak to a knowledgeable staff member about how you or your loved one can be helped to enjoy a better and healthier life. More information is also available on the website at www.atlantahealingcenter.com.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
Hello, everybody. This is Roger B., and I'm bringing a special show to you today. And you're listening to America's Web Radio, and the special show today will be a man that I admire, respect, and have a great deal of admiration for. A man I know as Shifu. He's my my Kung Fu instructor, and he is working on a project right now to bring money to purchase much-needed equipment to medical workers and hospital workers in several cities across the United States.
Hello, everybody, and this is Deru, and I'm from the Shodan Institute. I'm a runner of this event and Shodan Chan Foundation. And Shodan Chan Foundation is a non-profit organization and 501 and C3. And what I do is to help people in the medical community with the masks. When I saw the news, especially in New York, and which my friends are working with, New York hospitals, and then a lot of people dying, and then I see a lot of people dying in China, and then especially medical workers, and then they are in front line to help people, but themselves, their lives in danger. So I see, and in Georgia is also urgent, and especially New Orleans also, because those are locations I have schools. I have probably about 100 schools in the United States with the different students, but I'm myself running 3 schools. But these 3 cities, they all have doctors, and then they are urgently need masks and also protective gears. They don't have enough, especially ventilators. What we see is if we can do something, and then I have some contacts with the different places, try to get this equipment for them. So what I do is helping people to get this equipment, and then I urge everybody give your love, give your compassion, give your heart, and because we're all together and do this together because we're part of this.
Now, this is because of the coronavirus outbreak that we've had recently. Now, how long have you been working on this project? Is it something fairly new we've tried to put together?
Yeah, I've been doing this, originally I helped China and tried to do something for the Chinese people, but and then I began to help here, because this is just recently I began to turn around to do here, because this is where I live. I've been here for 34 years. And this is it's a long time. This is my home, and absolutely. So I need to do something about it. So that's why I thought of it right away. And through like foundation, and I get the students. We have probably about 200 students. I try to get everybody motivated and from different cities, and to get this on the go.
Now, this is something we've seen time and time again with this virus outbreak, is that there's a huge shortage of masks. There's a huge shortage of gowns, protective gear. In fact, a lot of the masks up here are being reused over and over and over again because they can't switch them up between patients. And some of these hospital workers are being exposed just by the sheer magnitude of the people they see between the time they get a new mask and they have to get rid of the old one. They're reusing it so many times it's not protective anymore.
It's true. And one of the ladies told me that she has to use the masks like from Friday to Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. She still wear the same mask. She said, I'm supposed to dispose this once I see a patient, but I have seen so many patients. I cannot use another mask because they're not enough.
They're just not enough, even if they used one a day, but here they're using them for days on end. So this is something that's become urgent, especially in the cities hit hardest, like in New York and parts of California. They have the most number of cases right now. But Atlanta, they have cases in almost every county in Georgia right now, has discovered cases of coronavirus. So the medical world is going to need equipment in ongoing amounts over and over and over again.
That is correct. And then I just heard yesterday, the governor, the mayor, they are working on it. And then some of the doctors really express themselves. They cannot even get a checkup. And then they have, because they don't have equipment, and then they're also running things out. So before long. So and right now, they are still having some, but not going to be very long.
So this is a project that you put together, and we're trying to raise some money. Now, how can people donate if they decide they want to give money to this cause to help our local professionals?
You have called GoFundMe, Shi Deru, that's my name, ShiDeru. You will see me everywhere on the internet and on the Google, and my name is used by Apple and company, and then by a lot of TED Talks. And probably, it's just basically I help people with health wellness. I help people with the immune system. I help people with cancer. I help people with different health issues. Use traditional Chinese medicine, use traditional Tai Chi, Qigong, and traditional meditation to help people to get the gain health. Basically, is they learn how to use their own ability, their own intelligence, their own immune system to counteract with all the disease. And people, because we all have that ability, we all have that immune system, we all have that functionality that counter with any virus, with any disease, because we have built inside that mind, that body, and to produce drugs that is biological drugs that is natural and without side effects. And so I'm personally promote that for the last 40 years.
Now, I know you've probably said this 100 times before in every interview you've ever done, but can you give people a little bit of your background, like where you started, where you came from, what kind of, do you have any official qualifications, degrees, or anything like that?
And I don't really have a lot of qualifications, but I started when I was 3 years old, and then I began to learn herbs, learn tea, and learn different herbs in China. And I started probably about 6 years old. I've been doing, I did that acupuncture and herbs for probably about 10 years before I went to college. I went to medical school, and then I went to college, get my Chinese medicine and degree, and then I was working in the hospital for 2 years.
So you have a degree in Chinese medicine?
That is correct.
Okay.
And then I came to the United States. I, of course, studied English literature, and then I went to University of South Alabama, got my master's degree in physiology and exercise physiology, and that's what my master's in, and basic medical science. So, it's if you say degree, there are a lot of degrees I got, but they don't mean anything.
Well, I mean, but you kind of mix the old and the new. I mean, you mix the traditional Chinese medicine and healing with some modern information as well, because you have the degree in physiology, a master's degree in physiology.
Yeah, that is correct. That's why I speak to a lot of places. I spoke at Yale University, Harvard University, and UC Berkeley, and Georgia Tech. And I spoke at, you name it, in Columbus, and a lot of universities I spoke to. Probably you guys may be familiar with those universities in the United States.
Oh yeah, I'm sure everybody's familiar with Harvard and Yale, and most people in the Georgia area are familiar with Georgia Tech. So, yeah, so you've got a reputation for doing the Chinese medicine and knowing the physiology and everything, and you also are a Kung Fu instructor. That's how I met you.
Yes, mostly more people know me as a Kung Fu instructor. Kung Fu, a lot of people thought Kung Fu is a fight. To me, it's not a fight. It's about intelligence, the body-mind intelligence. Just like Bruce Lee said, it's the honestly, sincerely express yourself emotionally, mentally, and physically, and intellectually. So it's express yourself, your intelligence, to unveil that inner intelligence, the innate intelligence, innate ability, and with grit. The grit, everybody needs that grit. Without grit, you cannot do anything. That grit, you need discipline. That grit, you need perseverance. That grit, you need all the things you need to persevere in life. And that's what I see. That's what Kung Fu is about, is to unveil the intelligence with the grit.
Right. I remember one thing in particular that stood out is when they were asking us what our most effective weapon was in our Kung Fu arsenal. And the most effective weapon is your brain.
That is correct. Without the brain, you cannot do anything. So all the weapons, any weapons you have, like sticks or guns, but without the brain, you definitely cannot do anything. And I encountered with a lot of problems in the United States. Probably at least 20 people challenged me, and they're 6 feet and 5 feet, and then unfortunately they're all on the ground because I'm only 5'6", 5'6.5", and the people underestimate it's the brain that works. It is the intelligence that works, and I do not have to use the strength to overcome that 300-pound body, because I use their body against their body. It's that intelligence that works more important. One of the guys I remember from Mobile, Alabama, when I was there, and pointed a gun to my head, and I felt the
anxious for sure.
A medal. And then I thought I was joking, I said, you got to be joking. And he pointed a gun to me. And I told him, if you do not take off, my hands is much faster, 1,000 times faster in your hand. He's scared. He put his hand down, and I told him to give me the gun. He gave me the gun. I took the bullets off. I said, nail down to the ground. He nailed down to the ground. Just the way it is, how you portray yourself, because he just scared. He's more scared than I am. And I told him everything he does, and he did.
The confidence makes a big difference there, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's true. In Duluth over here, 2 guys wanted to beat me up because he thought I was a yellow SH, and he said I need to go back to the country I came from. And it's what do we see? It's this kind of racial thing. It's I've been in this country longer than he did, because he's about 20-something years old.
Right, you've been here longer than he's been alive.
Yeah, I've been here much longer than he's alive.
You probably always encounter people who doubt what you can do or doubt
that
your
is correct.
qualifications.
Yeah.
I mean, but now you were talking earlier about how everybody has the power within themselves to help control parts of their body that they don't realize they have.
Exactly, that's what I do, and a lot of people, let me give you an example. One of the girls who was bullied at school, and then she trained with me for half a year later, and she put a gun and on his own head, and because the guy played with him, he said, never play with me. And because she was bullied, but other people never thought that she would do things like that. She turned her gun around to that guy, put the gun under the guy's throat, and said, never, ever do that to me again. And everybody since then, everybody's scared of her, and nobody get there, even touch her, or even walk by her. That's just the reality.
That's what it takes. To earn respect, sometimes you have to prove yourself. Well, you usually do. Most people won't usually respect you, especially if you're a woman or somebody smaller, and they're much larger than you. They're going to assume that you're not as powerful as you really are.
Yeah, sometimes you get friends. I have a very good friend. His name is Kelly, and he's a basketball player. He's tallest basketball player at Mobile College. It's a Baptist college. And then they sponsored me, and at Baptist College, I went to school there. I got my bachelor degree in English. So. Kelly originally was the one bullied me, and he was like 7 feet. He's a tall guy, He just play with me. He think he can, twist me around. So he put a gun on my head, and I grabbed his hand and put him on the ground, and then put my foot in his mouth. He said, next time, if you do this again, I'm going to crush all your teeth. Not a single one left. Do you understand?
You get one warning.
This is the only warning you got. And then that evening, he and the Dr. Eddie, who is the basketball players' coach, the whole team came over to apologize for their behavior, because they bullied me at least 10 times. I didn't do anything, but that was the last one.
It was the last straw.
Last straw. I told them never do that again. They put a basket of fruits and to apologize.
Oh wow, that's nice.
Life.
Well, sometimes that's how you make friends: is you start off as enemies and you gain respect for one another. and you end up being friends.
Yeah, his
it happens.
girlfriend cut my hair for 2 years at college.
Okay, see that? So, it starts off. But and also you were talking about, this is something that just fascinated me. Okay, we're going to have to come back. We've got to take a break for a couple of minutes, and we'll be back with Shi Deru, the 31st generation Grand Master Kung Fu instructor.
Whether cruising the strip in a 57 Chevy or taking the family on a vacation in a 71 Oldsmobile Vista Cruiser, you need to tune in to Classic Cars with Steve Ronaldo and Jim Weber every Saturday from 8 to 9 a.m. on americaswebradio.com. Whether cruising the strip in a 57 Chevy or taking the family on a vacation in a 71 Oldsmobile Vista Cruiser, you need to tune in to Classic Cars with Steve Ronaldo and Jim Weber every Saturday from 8 to 9 a.m. on americaswebradio.com.
Want to give your family or loved one the perfect gift? Then go online and check out the TornadoBodyDryer.com. I love mine and the warm heat air massage it gives me after my shower. The Tornado Body Dryer is super. You'll love it, and you'll love having one in your shower.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
Okay, I'm Roger B. You're listening to America's Web Radio, and we have a special guest today, Shi Deru, our Kung Fu master, and we're talking about, he started a GoFundMe page to start getting some money together to raise money for local hospitals and healthcare workers who are in dire need of extra equipment right now during this coronavirus outbreak we've had. So we're going to do I want to find out more about your health ideas,
Okay.
how you can help people help themselves.
Sure. When I was young, I was almost died, and then when I say died, because I was forced to die, and I had meningitis, infectious meningitis, and my teacher helped me to get over with it. And a lot of people around me also had that meningitis because it was infectious. And then we probably about 20 people, and all 20 people probably died except me. And then I was alive and well. So that gave me a prompt. We have something we can do to ourselves. And then later on, because my allergy issues and pollen issues, I never got well, but I managed. I never took any drugs, and then I even had surgeries. And then people who have surgeries, they always tell you need to get anesthesia. I said no, I don't need that. And then they do that. They just couldn't believe how can I control the pain. They said, how do you do that? I said, well, I practice all my life. So that's what I do with this thing. I help a lot of people with cancer, with diabetes, with high blood pressure. Basically, what I see, it's innate ability. Everybody is built up with that innate ability, especially this coronavirus. Because a few years ago, when I was in China, I went to China during the SARS, and I thought I could not get a SARS, but I did. I got a SARS, and then I got it, and then I was just almost knocked off. And then the people wanted me to go to the doctor to stay in the hospital. I said, no, I cannot go to the hospital because I could have died over there. I need to shut myself out. So I shut myself out for 9 days. And I got back. And because I know how to do it, and I meditated, I did some mental exercise, I did a lot of visualization, and when I would wake, I was not awake and dizzy, and then I fall asleep, and then I got to wake up again and do it again. I did that for 9 days, and then I'm back in shape. So that's how your mind is working. That is how your body is working, because you have 15 to 100 trillion cells that is working for you, and organize them together, communicate them together, and then you have the ability. That's my principle. And I help a lot of cancer patients. Some cancer patients, of course, they cannot live forever. And I remember there's a guy, and Matt also worked with me, and Ray Blue worked with me, And then, the doctors told them they can stay for 1 year. They can only have 3 weeks to live. They have 3 months to live. But at least when they were with me, at least they could go to 6 years, 7 years, 20 years. And Jeanette has been with me since 2003, and she's still alive. And we have a gentleman from Yorktown, Pennsylvania, and he's still alive. And he was 80 years old at that time, 2003. Today, he's still alive. So he had lung cancer. He was on breathing tubes, and his immune system totally collapsed. I said, okay, we will be able to rebuild that immune system because you have the ability, and you have the 50 trillion cells. You can have the ability to control them, to manage them, to communicate with them, and to make them strong again. So that's what I do.
Yeah, I remember you were talking to my friend Matt, who you helped tremendously. I remember he had stage 4 prostate cancer.
That is correct.
And he had high PSA numbers, and he started working with you, changing his diet, taking some supplements and things, and all of a sudden his PSA number was down to 0 in a matter of a few weeks.
Yes, correct.
It was, and they didn't know how to explain it necessarily, and I had a feeling I knew where that came from.
Yeah, I treated quite a lot. For the last 25 years, I treated a lot of cancer patients. Of course, I cannot promise everybody, you're going to live forever. Nobody live forever. But
right.
When the doctors promise them, say, well, you have 3 weeks to go, you have 3 months to go, and I can tell them, if they go with me, if they go with themselves, if they trust themselves, if they have faith in themselves, if they unveil their own wisdom, if they unveil their own intelligence, if they unveil their own ability.
Yes, because I remember you said, okay, you looked at Matt and you said, okay, now slow your breathing down. And he did. And he said, okay, you can control that, and you slow your heart rate a little bit, but now we're going to teach you to control other parts of their body that you don't normally control. I'm going to show you.
This is what I do normally, and I want them to tune in inwardly, to see themselves, not their thoughts, not their emotions, but just to see whatever happened into the body, whatever happened into the breath, whatever happened to the emotions, just honestly, without judgment, without opinions, without get into it. Just watch. And then that will calm themselves down. And during that time, when they have some serenity, the body begin to communicate. And then they begin to reorganize. And that's the first step. And then they see the breath, listen to the breath, and watch the breath. That's the first step. And then they begin to feel. So when I was talking at Harvard University with a lot of doctors, a lot of medical professions, a lot of PhDs, and then I teach them how the breath really can help them, because these are a bunch of doctors from Harvard University, but they have zero knowledge.
They think everything is medicine. Yeah.
They think everything is medicine. They think everything is drugs. And then I told them, what I do is much, much more efficient than the drugs they have ever imagined, because what I do is not what I can do, is each individual can do. Is that person who can control themselves. Is that person can unveil the internal immune system, to unveil that intelligence within, to unveil that ability within. That's more important than anything, because what I do is just to give them a little bit a window they can see themselves and unveil that wisdom. That's the important in themselves.
Now, I bet the hardest part of that is getting people to see past what they've been taught their whole lives. Because their whole lives they've been told, you take a pill, you go see a doctor, you have surgery, and that's the way things are fixed. And they've never been taught that your body can be under more of your control than you actually ever believed it could be.
Yeah, it's just different beliefs. And just for me, for example, I have faith in myself, because since I was a child, I was an orphan on the street, and I never had a doctor, because I lived outside for more than 10 years on the street and on the dishes. And you think, any doctor could care about me? Nobody cared about me. I ate worms, I ate snails, I ate, anything you can get on, the roaches, and then a lot of poison things, but I survived. Because of that, I believe my ability to heal myself because I died so many times and then I survived. So people always say, what kind of medical insurance you have? I said, well, Deru is my medical insurance. Shi Deru is my medical insurance. This guy is my medical insurance because he insured him for the last 60 years, even though he's only 30-some years old. That's what I see.
That's right. I mean, and you didn't have any preconceived notions of what it took. So when you first started learning the Chinese medicine, that was all you had been taught.
Because
you weren't taught Western medicine first and then tried to learn the other one.
Of course, later on, I studied Western medicine because I have a master's degree in biology and physiology and all together, and in Western medicine. But I begin to talk. Because if I talk to people in Harvard, if I talk to people at Yale with this Jewish community, they have no understanding of Chinese medicine. So I have to use the Western medicine to creep into their thoughts, and then I try to explain our own intelligence, try to explain in terms of Jesus Christ, explain in a different wisdom. Explain about their own ability, explain how Jesus, heal people. So it's different things about the whole thing is about ability. Your ability, your consciousness in resonance with the universe, your consciousness resonance with God, your consciousness with the supreme intelligence. That's more important because the inner being is that inner intelligence, which has more importance than anything, any drugs, any other things can combined. But plus that mind, plus that physical, plus that herbs, plus that tea, plus that nutrition.
Okay, well, we're going to be back in a couple of minutes. We're going to take time for a few messages, and we'll be right back with more.
If your health insurance premium is more than your mortgage, Ellen Deal with Ideal Solutions is here to help. Whether you're a small business owner, individual, family, or baby boomer, email maga45cag@gmail.com and I'll respond with 3 easy questions to help you determine if you can get away from Obamacare. As a 20-year veteran of the insurance industry, I'm here to help with all your insurance needs. Email Ellen Deal at maga45cag@gmail.com.
My name is Kyle Hayes, a motorsports student at Alfred State College. Every year, Alfred State students compete in the Great Race, which is a cross-country time endurance rally for vintage vehicles. As you can imagine, it's pretty costly. I'm asking for your help. Your donation can make it possible for these students to live their passion and promote the vintage automobile industry. Please visit our site at give.alfredstate.edu and search Great Race to learn more and help us reach our goal. Thank you.
Quick Stakes, that's QUIK Stakes, are not just for surveyors. They are great for family and community gardens. Go online to www.quickstake.com or contact your local land surveying supply dealer and get you a box of Quick Stakes. You'll love them every year when you plant your garden. Again, that's Quick Stakes, QUIK Stakes, the truly preferred way to stake and identify what's in your garden now.
You're listening to America's Web Radio and the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
Hello, everybody. I'm Roger B. and we're back. We're talking to Shi Deru, a 31st generation Shaolin master, and he was explaining a few minutes ago just about how when people are indoctrinated with certain thoughts and certain ideas, it's hard for them to see outside that box.
Exactly, precisely. One of the things is that when we are conformed, caged, when we cling to thoughts, emotions, society, and then we cage ourselves. Everybody watches the football. Everybody goes to something. Everybody go to hospital. Have you seen a doctor? Are you sick? You sick? Did you go to hospital? And that's just people indoctrinated about that.
Social pressure.
You think about it, if you ask Jesus, have you seen a doctor? And Jesus probably would laugh at you, And so, because we have that intelligence, we have that supreme intelligence, that supreme intelligence give us the intelligence, why don't we use it? And we depend on other people. We depend on mechanical things. We depend on machines. We depend on surgeries. We depend on chemicals. And we should destroy our body and give ourselves so much side effects. And what a silly thing, you think about it, really think about it.
Now that's something that is actually becoming more enlightened right now. People are becoming more enlightened about healthy choices in their lives, getting away from chemicals, from the way things are grown. And this is something you've probably done for years.
Yeah, I've been doing this for 60 years. And but I'm only 37 years old. I can do anything 20 years old people can do, for real.
Because I think a lot of people now are starting to realize the wisdom of Eastern medicine, how it involves your mind, your body, and more of your will to be able to control things that normally modern medical doctors would say, oh, you can't control that, you need a pill for that.
So a lot of things is turn inwardly, look inside yourself, your own immune system, your own intelligence, your own strength, inner strength, your own energy. Because the energy waves is important, because if you have disease, the energy waves is totally different from the time when you have good health. When you chase a girl and then you're full of excitement, your energy is all up, and when you are sick, you totally dwindled. The totally different energy. That's what I see. So how can you get that vibration that is so strong and that connected with the universe, connect with God, connect with the supreme intelligence? And then when you are totally disable yourself, you disengage yourself with God, you disengage with the supreme intelligence, you disengage yourself with the universe. And that's what it is. And you totally goes opposite. And then you become the I call low consciousness, high consciousness. When you're in high consciousness, your frequency of your vibration is totally different. Your quantum communication, or your conscious quantum communication is totally different from the way lower consciousness, because you don't have communication. You don't have the signals, because you're so weak. That's what because you're diseased. Your disease is not you yourself want disease because you think of a lot of disease, you see a lot of disease, you depend on drugs, and you lost the ability. That's what it is. You have the ability, but you do not open it, and you just lost it. And how can we rediscover ourselves and re-unveil that intelligence? That's the key.
So it's being able to see beyond, I guess, the what's known as being correct and right, at least in Western society. Everyone just assumes, oh, you don't feel good, go see a doctor. But when you don't feel good, your energy changes, because it's hard to maintain that good attitude, that good energy when you're not feeling well.
That is correct. And especially when I don't feel well, this is normally I do. Okay. And for example, I told you last time, 2003, I got a SARS. And then I just told everybody, they told me to go to the hospital. I said no. And then I'm going to shut myself. I shut myself in the hotel for 9 days and 9 nights. I didn't eat anything. I just got drinks. That's all I did for 9 days. And I sat there. I didn't sleep. I didn't do anything but I breathe, and it turned myself inwardly just tuning in, and just observe my thoughts, observe my body, how the body changes. And the body begin to organize itself. When I see myself, I know my breath, or short breath, and then sometimes I just falling off. And then I woke up again, and I started again. And I woke up, and I falling off again, and I started again. And that's what I did. Because what happened is I knew I have faith in myself, because I did that before. If I can do once, I can do twice. If I can do twice, I can do 3 times. Because that's what I did when I had influenza. And every time I had influenza, that's what I did. So the last 20 years, I never had influenza except that SARS. I got hit pretty hard.
It's probably hardest the first time, because the first time you don't know what to expect. You're worried about whether it's going to work or not. You're concerned about your health, and you don't allow yourself positive feelings, positive thoughts, and vibrations.
Exactly. And when the first time, I have to tell you, I didn't read a lot of books. Okay? And because I have to encourage myself, and motivate myself, because I try to get a few books that is really on healing, And one is because I had a Bible. I used to have a Bible, Chinese Bible. Of course, I have English Bible. I have the Old Testament, how Jesus healed himself, how Jesus went to the East. Also learned something. And then also how the Eastern people and different regions people, how they heal themselves, and a lot of stories. And this really, really also kind of inspire me. If they can do it, I can do it. If they are beings like me, and they are God people, I'm a God people. So we are the same. So what's the difference? That's inspired me a lot. So I begin to work, and at the beginning, sometimes you dwindling, but you have to build yourself back. And then, a couple of times you begin to gain some confidence. And you really feel, wow, I feel differently, from yesterday. And next day you feel differently from the other day. And then, slowly you gain some confidence. Sometimes just that 1 inch, 1 second, you want to go down, but you keep on for that second. You went over, and then you gain some confidence.
You have to get past that doubt in your mind.
You just pass that second. Just because there's just 1 second, 1 minute, you passed it, and you gain a lot of confidence. You gain a lot of health. You gain a lot of immune system. You gain a lot of power. You gain a lot of energy. That's the key.
Right. I say the doubt has got to be something that drags people back down instead of letting them pull themselves forward. They doubt for just a second and they take steps backwards instead of forwards.
Yeah, that's
right. But you've got to keep inching forward and know, what is it? The journey of 1,000 miles starts with 1 step. And you have to go forward when you take that step.
Exactly. And you should keep 1 more minute. And sometimes people say, I didn't succeed. Because you just didn't go through that 1 minute, 2 minutes.
You didn't push yourself hard enough.
Hard enough. If you push yourself over that 2 minutes, and you're going to get it. I remember one of the ladies from Georgia, and she's one of my students. And then she told me that she has to go to hospital every month and stay in 2 weeks. And when she started with me, she said, I didn't go to hospital for 3 months.
Wow.
From every month, 2 weeks out of the month in hospitals, and then 3 months she didn't go to hospital for a single week. And that's give her a lot of confidence. So, and then she began to slowly gain confidence. She took a lot of drugs. Another person, her name is Susan. She took 9 kind of drugs, and her doctor told her she never be able to take off these drugs because her life is depending on these drugs to keep herself alive. So I told her we can take one off. She was so scared. We take another off. She's so every time she thought she's gonna die, but she didn't. This is 30 years later. She had no drugs. Her health is much better than she was when she was 40 years old.
And the first step is always the hardest, though.
Now she's over 70, and that's 34 years ago.
Wow.
Today's her health is tremendously better than she was when she was 40s. She was dying at that time. Today, she had no drugs, only breathing with me. Sometimes she bring herself, she walk, she breathing, she meditate, and she does some exercises. That's about it.
So it's not just, so the schools are not just about kung fu and learning, battle skills. It's also about, you have meditation and
yes,
Tai Chi.
Yeah, her mother, for example, her mother is 97 years old now. Her mother studied with her 20 years ago. Her mother totally didn't believe this. She said, this is a bunch of boo. I'm a Christian. I don't believe this Eastern mysticism. And then later on she said, "Oh, I'll try it." And then she's 97. She still drive. So she told me. She said, "Thank you, Master. Without you, I won't be able to drive. At least 97 years old. Body." No.
Sometimes it takes somebody facing, facing death or facing inevitable hardship, to be able to say, I'm willing to try something else.
Yeah.
To get beyond what you've known your whole life and say, you know what, this isn't working, let me try something else, and approach it with an open mind.
Yeah, because she was 70s at that time. That's Susan's mother was 70s at that time, and then she totally didn't believe this at all. And I'm praying for it, and then I have my doctor, I have my drugs, I'm on Medicare, And she said, all these drugs can take care of me. But then when one day the doctor told her that some of the drugs really deliver some of the problems to her liver. Her liver is totally damaged, and it's just scared. She said, well, I'll try something else.
Right. I mean, sometimes it takes that pushing right to the edge to make somebody look in another direction. And plus, the drugs act as a crutch for a lot of people, too. They rely on them so much, there's nothing else they can do.
Yeah, another example, Harry. Harry is a doctor himself. Harry is from Georgia, actually. He's a medical doctor, and he's also a medical professor for one of the colleges over here, and he's a neuroscientist. And one day, that was 25 years ago in New Orleans. He was teaching at a medical school at Xavier in New Orleans, and he came to me. He said, "Well, one of your students told me that he can help me." I said, "Who are you?" He said, "I'm Dr. Harry Kaminsky." He said, "I heard you're the one can help me with my shoulder." I said, "Yeah, doctor." He said, "Well, I seek all the doctors. Nobody can help me. All this steroid, just damage my body. I just cannot take it anymore."
So you're a last resort.
I'm the last resort. And then he said, "Well, you have to join the school, and otherwise I'm not going to take you as a student." He said, "Well, I'm going to join the school right now." So he joined the school. He signed an agreement to join the school, and then I worked with him. Of course, he always told his students that it took me 5 minutes. And I don't think so. It took about 15 minutes. And I did it with him, and later on I did some exercise, did some nutrition, advised him, and his shoulder could not even raise up at that time. And today, this is 20-some years later, and then his shoulder never had a problem.
Wow! So
it's
this
not
is
me. It's himself. He healed himself. I just give him some advice, give him a little bit of guidance. He doesn't know. That's all. Because he stuck with his books. He was conformed with the medical books. He was conformed with the neuroscience. He was conformed with these drugs. He's conformed with these chemicals. That's what it is.
So until he was willing to open his mind and see another way, he was not going to be able to do anything except what he'd been taught his whole life, basically.
Yeah, I went to his medical school, spoke a couple of times. He always tells people with the miracles he was experiencing with me. So he didn't used to believe that, because one of his teachers, who was my student, and told him, if anybody can do it, I can do it. Actually, it was not me. People thought it was me. No, it was not me. It was himself, because I only tell him he can do it, and then I'll give him away, and he can open himself up. That's all it is.
You had to lead the horse to the water, but the horse had to do the drinking.
Yeah, and he has the water. That's what it is. He doesn't know how to drink it.
He had to be shown how to get there. Yes. Sometimes all it takes is a little bit of guidance to go a long way if you have an open mind. You have to be willing to accept things that you're not used to understanding, or things that you've been taught your whole life are not true or not necessarily effective, and you have to be willing to accept that what you know is not necessarily all there is.
Yeah, exactly. During this coronavirus, I see, a lot of people say, well, you're over 60s, you're 65, you have this problem, that problem, it's much easier. If you have a good immune system, you don't have a problem. You don't have a problem. That's reality. But if you're 20 years old, you have a weak immune system, it's going to be a problem for you, period. Because I see plenty of people die in China, plenty of people die in Korea, plenty of people die in Italy. They're 20 years old, they're 80 years old, they're 10 years old, and then they are 30 years old, they died because they have a weak immune system, compromised immune system. What I see, the immune system is the key. So right eating, right behavior, right energy, right immune system, and it's very, very crucial to you and to everybody and to me.
Okay, we're going to be back in a couple of minutes with more. This is America's Web Radio, and you're listening to Shi Deru. He's our 31st generation Shaolin Kung Fu master. We'll be back in a couple of minutes with more.
Get your pen and paper ready. If there is a move in your near future, I'm here to tell you that the folks I used and now recommend is Around Town Movers. Timothy and the guys recently moved me, and I am and was totally satisfied with a sometimes not so fun experience moving. Call Timothy at 770-378-4708 and make it a good move and a good experience. Around Town Movers for that local or cross-country move. Timothy, Around Town Movers, in my opinion, are the best. That's Around Town Movers. Call them. That's Around Town Movers. Call them.
Perhaps you are struggling to cope with the disease of addiction. If not, you probably know a family member or friend that needs help in battling the cravings and the personal and professional damage done by the effects of drugs or alcohol. Get a pen and paper and be ready to write down the following. These are the issues that the trained staff at the Atlanta Healing Center address and treat every day. Their doctors and counselors with over 40 years of practice in the field of addiction can treat the suffering individual in a thoughtful, compassionate, and experienced manner and guide him or her along the path to recovery. So call 770-696-9862 and speak to a knowledgeable staff member about how you or your loved one can be helped to enjoy a better and healthier life. More information is also available on the website at www.atlantahealingcenter.com.
This is Dr. Susan Blank, host of Detailing Addiction and Medical Director of the Atlanta Healing Center. Please join me on Tuesday afternoons at 4 p.m.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
Hello, welcome back. I'm Roger B., and I'm here with my special guest, Shi Deru, for a 31st generation Shaolin master. And we're talking about, I guess, healing your body from the inside, using your own ability to take care of yourself. And this is something that you got to realize is not just when you're sick. To build your immune system up when you're healthy is the best time to do it, because that's when you have the best ability.
Exactly, precisely. You know, every year around my school, because I teach martial arts in so many schools, from Washington D.C. to New York to Brazil to Canada, you name it. Any country I taught, probably about over 200 cities, and all over the world. But you meet all kinds of people. You always have times that people have influenza, have this flu round, but I never get sick. Why? Because I see the flu is coming to me, and I immediately notice it. Why I notice it? Because I practice so long, and I see that the germs come in. And then I immediately sit down and to meditate and to build my immune system. But before that time, I always build that up to that degree, and I can test it. I can sense it, because we call sensor medicine, feeling medicine. Right now, actually, Harvard is doing feeling medicine. Harvard is doing energy medicine. Harvard is doing sensor medicine. I've been doing this 30 years ago. I give this report at the Georgia Convention Center. It's called FASAP, Federation of American Society for Experimental Biology. A lot of doctors, 55,000 doctors come over from all over the world to have this meeting. I'll give that mind-body medicine and a speech. I'll give the mind-body medicine and presentation. That is 1990. And then people thought I was crazy. Today, you see all hospitals, they have all kinds of mind-body medicine. They don't say crazy anymore, because 30 years ago they say I was crazy, but they begin to adopt what I said, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. So what I say is it's not I'm smarter. It's because we already have that, And this is from the supreme intelligence. This is not from the east or west, from the universe. We already have it over there, but we just forgot. What I do is bring it back to everybody. That's what it's about. and we have the ability to reorganize. We have the ability to rediscover ourselves. We have the ability to every day to maintain that immune system, to boost our immune system, to help ourselves to organize.
So the better off you'll be is if you work on it daily or work on it before you get sick.
Precisely.
Learn to help your own immune system prior to getting sick. You'll get sick less. You'll need less drugs, less doctors, less hospitals. Your whole life, it's a lifestyle adaptation.
Precisely. I didn't take drugs for 60 years. I lived very well. And, I live better than, I would say 99.9% of people.
Can do better without drugs.
That's the reality. My student, Susan, used to have 9 drugs to keep herself alive, but today she didn't have drugs. But she lived better. So you can see, those are the evidence. And and we have not just 1, not 2, we have so many. And Janet, she had her cancer spread all over the body. 2008, she started with 2003, and she spread all over the body. 2008, today she's still alive. Today.
Now, where can people find your? Look on Facebook. Is that you have a Facebook page? People can follow you there.
You can go
you have an Instagram or
Shaolin Institute. You type Shaolin Institute, SHAO Shaolin. Everybody knows Shaolin. Shaolin is the one studied the martial arts. SHAOLIN. Shaolin Kung Fu. You can put a Kung Fu. Okay. Put my name would be fine. SHIDERU. Shi Deru. Shi Deru is it's very, very much abused everywhere because everybody uses it. It's Apple use it, TED Talk used it, and everybody use it. A lot of websites use it. Use my picture. You will see my picture everywhere.
So if we look for the Shaolin Institute online, we should be able to find the Shaolin Institute, and then
correct.
find you, and they can follow you, and they can look for classes if they want, or come for even a. You say you're going to do a free meditation session here and there. You throw those out throughout the year just to get a sample of what's going on?
I'm going to do actually production, a series production, probably about 10 to 15 episodes to help the weaken the immune system people. Okay, the people who are sedentary, for people who have immune system that is compromised, for people who work a lot, for people who are highly stressed, for executives, for office workers, for people who do not care about the body, but care about the drugs, and then they want to turn around, and they want to change the a different way, and so I want to help the people get a production over there, and it's called Immune Series. You will see on the YouTube. It's called Immune Series. Zen Taigong, ZEN Taigong, TAI, Gong, GONG, Taigong. Okay, Zen Taigong. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, I just want people to be able to find you online because the main reason you're here is to raise money for healthcare workers who are fighting this corona. Now,
that is correct.
You haven't been exposed to the coronavirus as far as you know, right?
I don't think so.
Okay, yeah. Because that would be, I know you can probably fight it off better than 99% of the people in the world could. But
SARS is much, the strain of the SARS much heavier than
right. It was supposed to be much more dangerous.
Very well with it, but today, and I'm very careful with it, and so I'm, I shut all my schools right now and try to get everybody to study with me online.
Okay. Now, also, if you want to go, there's a GoFundMe page. Go to the GoFundMe website and look under Shi Deru. That's SHIDERU. And you can find the GoFundMe page where we're collecting money to provide equipment for all these healthcare workers who are forced to reuse stuff they shouldn't have to do, use masks for days on end. We need to get these people the equipment they need so they can help us. So we need to help them to help us.
Yeah, yes, indeed. So, and also another thing is that if you do not have coronavirus, you do not want to have it, or if you do not want to have future influenza, that beat you so badly and boost your immune system, and then I will help you with that. Okay, go to YouTube. Just you can put a Shaolin Institute. You can put a Zen Taigong, ZEN, and Zen means infinity. Zen means the openness, means space, and the Taigong means the work and the Kung Fu. Kung Fu. Everybody understands Kung Fu. If you have ever heard of Bruce Lee is the one doing Kung Fu. I'm the one doing Kung Fu.
That's right. Bruce Lee is probably one of the most famous Kung Fu practitioners of all time, I'm sure.
Yeah, I remember many years ago, like the 1980s, and 3 guys tried to rob me. And later on, when they try to get my things, I say, wait a minute, you guys ready? You really want to rob me? And then there was a shock. They say, how did you know that? And then they back off. They came over to me, say, Master, are you Master? I say, are you Bruce Lee? I said, better. And then later on, they insisted on to be my student. I said, no, I don't take robbers as my student.
You have to give up that lifestyle if you want to stay with me, right?
Roger, I want to interrupt 1 second.
Sure,
There's a lot of things going on with coronavirus, and the Department of Justice has contacted us to put out announcements about the fact that because we do the elderly abuse show here on America's Web Radio, and one of the attorneys was on 3 weeks ago now, but they know that we're very concerned about elderly abuse, and right now elders are being contacted by scam artists all over the country saying they have the cure for the coronavirus.
Trying to sell them things they don't need, right?
Trying to sell them stuff that they don't need that's fictitious anyway. They're just trying to get the elders' MasterCard or their money any way that they can. So if you get a call, somebody asking or somebody telling you that they've got a cure or they can sanitize your house beyond whatever, and all you have to do is send them X amount, it's a scam. Don't listen to them. Don't call them back. Don't do anything. Just hang up on them and tell them to go to hell. And other than that, the DOJ wanted us to put that announcement out. There are so many scams. It's unbelievable, the morality of some folks and the ethics of some folks, that they have no morals. They take advantage of their grandmother. So be aware of that. If you get a suspicious phone call, let your gut tell you what to do. Hang up.
Right, understood. All right, well, I think, are we about wrapping it up now today? We want to remind everybody one more time, GoFundMe, Shi Deru, that's the website you want to go to if you can donate to help our healthcare workers, because they need it now more than ever. The coronavirus has taken so much of the nation's resources and stretched them so thin. And everybody's been doing their part, hopefully, staying home when they can, only going out when they have to, being careful with personal contact, things like that. That's the kind of things we have to keep doing. But if you want to prevent the next possible, virus that comes by, look up Shi Deru online, Shaolin Institute, and take some classes. Learn some Tai Chi, learn meditation, learn to help your body help itself.
Yeah, precisely. And actually, at this point, especially during this crisis, a lot of people get stressed. A lot of people get a fear. And instead of getting into that fear, that stress, and do some meditation, do some self, and observation, and do some self-improvement, and I think will help you. And then that's what I see, and it's free. And just see, go to my website and Shaolin Institute. And you can also go to YouTube. Just put a Shaolin Institute over there. You will see, and also you can see Zen Taigong and Immune Series. They all help you.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming on, and maybe we'll have you back again soon. This is America's Web Radio.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
Want to give